when the world feels too heavy, and your chest tightens with the weight of everything you haven't done, everything you wish you were. Pause. Just for a moment. Let yourself breathe again. Share this with the important people in your life. Let them know that they are important in your life. You've heard 1,000 voices telling you to rise, to grind, to push harder. You've listened to speeches that call you to greatness, to become more, to be unstoppable. And maybe they stirred something in you. But when the noise fades, and you're alone with yourself, do you feel stronger, or do you feel more broken? Stoicism doesn't shout. It whispers. You don't need control, you need clarity. The idea that you always need to be better, faster, stronger, it's a mirage. Improvement means nothing if it comes from self-hatred. Sit with that for a moment. You don't need to chase every goal to prove your worth. You don't need to follow every piece of advice or mold yourself to fit someone else's version of success. Let what you can't change pass through you like wind through open hands. The world will always try to convince you that you are not enough. Not until you buy this, do that, become that. But the Stoic stands still while the storm rages. Because strength is not about motion. It's about stillness. It's about seeing clearly. Pain is not the enemy. Your reaction to pain is what defines your strength. So when you hear those motivational speeches, when someone tells you to hustle, to fight, to climb, remember this: you are not a machine. You are not broken for feeling tired. You are human, and the path to a better you begins not with more pressure, but with more peace. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to stop. You're allowed to feel overwhelmed and still be worthy of love, of progress, of peace. The Stoics didn't rise each day to conquer the world. They rose to conquer themselves, not by force, but with awareness, with discipline that came from understanding, not punishment. When the world demands more of you, take a moment to ask, why? Whose voice is that? Is it truly your own? Or is it an echo from someone else's fear? You've been taught that success is in the doing, but the Stoics knew that success is in the being. Being honest, being still, being present. When you hear those motivational voices telling you to crush the day, remember, not everything needs to be crushed. Some things need to be held. Some things need to be let go. Some things were never yours to carry in the first place. There is a difference between effort and torment, between growth and self-attack. You can want to improve without hating where you are now. And if you've been measuring your worth by how much you can endure, how far you can push yourself, breathe. You don't have to break to become. You don't have to shatter in order to grow. Not every path to strength requires suffering. Sometimes strength looks like saying no. Sometimes it looks like saying nothing at all. There is no wisdom in endless striving. There is wisdom in knowing when to stop, when to say, this is enough for today. Even Marcus Aurelius, emperor of the Roman Empire, reminded himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. So the next time someone tells you to chase greatness, ask yourself, do I even want what they're chasing? Or am I simply afraid of being left behind? The Stoic knows that comparison is a silent thief. It creeps in when you scroll through other people's lives, their achievements, their smiling photos. But comparison blinds you. You are not them. You never were meant to be. Let what you can't change pass through you like wind through open hands. What is yours will stay. What is not will fall away. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be to see what you need to see. If you feel lost, that's not a failure. That's a signal, a message from within. You are being called not to do more, but to return. Return to stillness. Return to truth. Return to the quiet knowing that you are already enough. Not in some future version. Not when you've fixed everything. Now, here, in this breath, you don't need to find the light. You are the light, covered perhaps by layers of noise, of doubt, of pressure. But it's still there, and each moment of silence, each pause, each breath you take without judgment, brings you closer to it. Pain is not the enemy. Your reaction to pain is what defines your strength. Let pain visit, not stay. Let it teach, not define. Let it soften you, not harden you. And when the world tells you to be louder, to be bolder, to move faster, ask instead, what would stillness teach me right now? What would it feel like to rest, not out of defeat, but out of wisdom? You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. You don't need to scream to be heard. You are allowed to speak gently to yourself, to take one step at a time, to pause without guilt. Motivational speeches have their place, but sometimes the most powerful motivation is simply the permission to be human. Not every battle is yours. Not every moment requires action. Some moments are for reflection, for noticing the beauty in simply existing. This is enough. And when you doubt that, when the pressure builds again, come back here, to your breath, to your body, to the part of you that has endured every storm and still stands. Because you've made it through moments you thought would break you. You've grown in ways no one else will ever fully see. And that counts. It all counts. Let what you can't change pass through you like wind through open hands. And let what matters settle in your soul like roots in quiet earth. Even when you feel like nothing is working, even when you feel far from where you want to be, you are on the path. It doesn't always feel like progress, but even seeds feel buried before they bloom. So rest, breathe, and remember, you don't need control, you need clarity. And clarity comes in the quiet. You're not lazy, you're not weak, you're tired, and there's a difference. You've carried more than most people can see. Responsibilities, regrets, dreams that haven't yet become real, disappointments you haven't had the words to share. But even in all that weight, you're still here, still breathing, still listening. That's not failure. That's resilience. There is a quiet kind of courage in simply continuing, not rushing, not pushing, just being present. Right now, no striving, no needing to earn your right to peace, just you and this breath. You are not measured by how much you get done today. You are not a machine. You're allowed to rest without apology. You're allowed to feel without fixing. The Stoics didn't avoid emotion. They embraced it with wisdom. They knew that life is uncertain, messy, fleeting, that people will disappoint you, that your plans will unravel, that sometimes you'll wake up and wonder, what's the point of it all? And they didn't run from that question. They sat with it, not to find quick answers, but to grow strong enough to live without needing them all. That's the difference between inspiration and truth. Inspiration fires you up. Truth holds you steady. You don't need more fire right now. You need roots, a center, stillness. When you chase improvement from a place of emptiness, you only feed the void. But when you begin from acceptance, from loving awareness, growth becomes a gentle unfolding. Not a sprint, not a battle, just the natural becoming of who you already are. You don't need to fix yourself. There is nothing wrong with you. You may feel broken, but brokenness is often the beginning of wisdom. You've been told to be strong, but strength isn't always loud. It isn't always fierce. Sometimes, strength is crying when no one sees. Sometimes, it's showing up even when your heart feels hollow. Sometimes, it's letting go of the idea that you must always be improving. Because who told you that you're not already enough? The Stoics believed in living according to nature. That means being human, being flawed, being whole even in the middle of your chaos. Let what you can't change pass through you like wind through open hands. Don't grip what hurts. Don't clutch what's fading. Open your hands, open your heart, and trust that life doesn't always need your force. Sometimes it just needs your presence. Right now, maybe your mind is wandering. Maybe there's a heaviness behind your eyes or an ache in your chest. Don't run from it. Notice it. Welcome it like an old friend, here to teach you something new. You don't need to react. Just observe. The Stoic doesn't seek to eliminate all pain. They seek to understand their relationship to it. Pain is not the enemy. Your reaction to pain is what defines your strength. You may feel like you're falling behind in life, but behind what? Some imaginary timeline? Some external expectation? There is no race, no scoreboard. You are not behind. You are on a different path, and that path deserves your full presence. right here, right now. Not in some faraway future where everything is perfect, but in this moment where you have the power to return to yourself, to soften, to slow, to breathe without judgment. The self-improvement world will tell you to do more, be more, achieve more. But the Stoic world, it invites you to need less, to want only what is within your control, to let go of all that is not. And most things are not. You can't control the outcome. You can't control others. You can't control what has already happened. But you can choose how you respond. You can choose to stop running, to stop proving, to stop punishing yourself for simply being human. Growth doesn't come from pressure. It comes from presence, from honesty, from the decision to return to your breath when the world wants you to panic. You don't need to climb a mountain today. You don't need to figure it all out. You just need to sit in truth. And the truth is this: you are already worthy. You are already strong. Not because of what you've achieved, but because you're still here, still trying, still choosing to listen when it would be easier to give up. That matters. Even when it feels small, it matters. You don't need control, you need clarity. And clarity begins with choosing stillness. Not just once, but again and again. Every time the fear returns, every time the doubt whispers, every time the world tries to speed you up, you can choose to come back to the breath, back to the body, back to the quiet, knowing that no amount of improvement will ever replace the peace that comes from acceptance. You are not your failures. You are not your past. You are not your anxiety or your uncertainty. You are the space beneath all of it, the steady ground, the unshakable self. And when everything feels like too much, that space is still there, waiting for you to remember, to return, to rest. You've been taught to chase motivation, to wait for a spark before you move, to wait until it feels right. But the Stoics knew a secret. That peace isn't something you wait for, it's something you practice. Even on the days when you feel nothing, especially on those days, you don't need to feel powerful to act with power. You don't need to feel inspired to do what matters. You just need to begin, right where you are. No pretending, no performance, just presence. When the world feels heavy and your thoughts begin to spiral, pause. Ask yourself, is this within my control? And if it's not, let it go. Not because it doesn't matter, but because you matter more than your worry. You're not meant to carry everything. You're not meant to solve every problem. Some things are simply not yours to hold. The Stoics remind us, it is not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. It's not what happened, it's the story you tell yourself about what it means. And those stories, they can be rewritten. Right now, you can choose a new story. One where struggle doesn't equal failure. One where softness doesn't mean weakness. One where you don't have to be everything for everyone. Just you, present, honest, human. Maybe you've tried to push the pain away, to distract yourself, to numb, to perform. But pain, when ignored, becomes noise. When welcomed, it becomes a teacher. Sit with it, let it speak, and you'll notice it begins to soften. It begins to transform. Pain is not here to punish you. It's here to shape you, to carve away what isn't essential. So what remains is true. You, pure, unarmored, still. You don't have to explain your exhaustion. You don't have to justify your sadness. You don't need permission to feel lost. The Stoic path isn't about having answers. It's about learning to live gracefully without them. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply stay. Stay with yourself. Stay with the silence. Stay with the discomfort without needing to escape it. Because that's where strength is built. Not in the victories, but in the stillness between them. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. Quietly, slowly, beautifully. Let go of the timeline in your head. You are not late for your own life. Every breath you take is right on time. Every quiet moment is a thread in the fabric of your becoming. Trust that. You don't need to perform joy. You don't need to smile for the world. You just need to be honest with yourself. And that honesty, that quiet truth. That's what the Stoics called virtue. To live with integrity, to align your outer life with your inner knowing, to act not for approval, but for peace. And peace comes not from control, but from surrender, from the decision to allow life to be what it is, while you stand steady, no longer resisting the tide. You are not here to conquer life. You are here to meet it, as it is. No armor, no mask, just presence. There is a kind of freedom in that. The freedom to breathe fully, even when things are uncertain. The freedom to rest, even when the world tells you to hustle. The freedom to say, this is enough for now, because it is. You are enough right now. No achievement needed. No transformation required. This you, this moment, it's all already enough. And from that enoughness, something quiet begins to grow. Not forced, not rushed, just unfolding, like a leaf opening to the sun, like still water reflecting the sky. That's what you are when you stop trying to be more. You become clear, present, true. The Stoics did not promise a life without storms. They taught us how to build shelter within, how to find calm in the chaos, how to walk through fire and not let it burn your soul. That is the invitation now, to stop seeking the fire and become the stillness around it. The calm inside the storm. You are allowed to slow down. You are allowed to feel unsure. You are allowed to rest in the space between who you were and who you're becoming. That space is sacred. It's not empty. It's not wasted. It's where transformation begins, where the old sheds quietly and the new waits patiently. No pressure, no perfection, just the gentle unfolding of truth. And you, still breathing, still here, still enough. You're allowed to begin again. Not because you failed, but because you are always changing, always becoming. Each sunrise is not a reset because something was wrong. It's a reminder that you are not stuck. Even when you feel still, even when your mind whispers doubts and your heart feels heavy, you are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them, watching, listening, choosing. You don't need to argue with every thought that enters. You don't need to react to every feeling that visits. You can let them come, and you can let them go, like clouds drifting through an open sky, not clinging, not pushing, just noticing and letting go. The Stoics called this the discipline of perception, to see things as they are, not as your fear paints them, not as your past defines them, but clearly, cleanly, truthfully. When you look without distortion, life becomes simpler, not easier, but clearer. You start to see that not every burden needs to be carried. Not every voice deserves your energy. Not every emotion requires a reaction. Some things are best left as they are. You are not obligated to fix everything. You are not responsible for every outcome. You are allowed to choose peace over perfection, stillness over struggle, clarity over chaos. You don't need to control, you need clarity. And clarity begins with slowing down, with breathing, with noticing what's true beneath the noise. There is nothing wrong with you for being tired, for needing rest, for craving quiet. This world often rewards the loudest, the fastest, the most visible. But the Stoics remind us, true strength is silent. It's quiet perseverance. It's grace under pressure. It's choosing integrity when no one is watching, when you're not praised, when you're not seen, when it's just you and your choices. That is the heart of Stoic strength. To live by values, not by moods. To act by reason, not by impulse. To treat each moment not as a test, but as a chance. A chance to be who you truly are. To become what life is asking you to become. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to keep walking with your fear beside you. You don't need to be certain. You just need to stay with the uncertainty long enough to understand it. The Stoics knew that life is short, but not in a way that should scare you. In a way that should wake you up, make you pay attention, make you love what's here, not someday but now. This moment matters, even if it's quiet, even if it's painful, even if it feels like nothing is happening. It's all happening, right here, right now. Even the stillness is movement. Even the silence is music if you learn to listen. Stop waiting for the world to validate your worth. You were not born to be consumed by approval. You were born to live with presence, to act with purpose, to choose virtue over validation. It's not always easy, but it's always right. Pain is not the enemy. Your reaction to pain is what defines your strength. And strength is not absence of emotion. It is mastery of response. Not control, but calm. Not domination, but discipline. And discipline can be gentle, can be kind. It doesn't shout. It whispers. This is who I choose to be. Not because the world expects it, but because your soul does. You can stop waiting for motivation, for the right feeling, for the perfect moment. You are already in the moment. It is already enough. And you, as you are already enough to meet it. You don't have to climb the whole mountain today. You just need to take one step. That's all. One breath, one moment of honesty, one act of quiet courage, and then another, and another. This is how peace is built. Not all at once, but one gentle moment at a time. You may never get applause for your effort, but you don't need it. Your peace is your reward. Your presence is your power. Let what you can't change pass through you like wind through open hands. Don't chase what flees. Don't fight what is. Just stand here, in your stillness, in your truth, and let life be what it is. That's where your power lives. In the choice to let go, not because you're giving up, but because you're growing up. And in that quiet maturity, that stoic heart, you find something rare, a life that is yours, lived on your terms. Rooted in virtue, guided by wisdom, not by fear, not by noise, not by the world's ever-changing tide, just by you, here, now, still. There's no race, no finish line to chase, no final version of you that must be completed. You are not a project. You are a process, a quiet unfolding, a becoming, and that becoming is shaped not by what happens to you, but by how you meet it. You will be tested by time, by disappointment, by moments that make no sense. But you are not here to understand everything. You are here to respond with strength, with clarity, with peace. You are here to remember that serenity is not given. It is chosen. Chosen in the moments when fear wants to lead. Chosen in the seconds when anger begs to speak. Chosen in the hours when doubt clouds your mind. This is the Stoic way. To pause, to breathe, to ask, is this within my control? And if the answer is no, to let go, not with resentment, but with relief, because letting go is not loss. It is freedom. You don't need to grip life so tightly. It will not slip away if you loosen your grasp. In fact, the tighter you cling, the more it hurts. The more you try to force life into your image, the more it resists. The Stoics remind us the obstacle is the way. And sometimes, the obstacle is your own resistance, your own insistence on how things should be. But peace is found not in shaping the world to fit you. It's found in shaping yourself to move through the world with grace. That means adapting, accepting, adjusting your posture without breaking your spine. It's not weakness to bend. It's wisdom. Water bends and it carves stone. You are allowed to be soft. You are allowed to not have all the answers. You are allowed to rest when the world feels heavy. This is not quitting. This is real strength. To know when to stop. To know when to breathe. To know that your worth is not tied to how much you achieve. You are not a machine. You are not a checklist. You are not what you produce. You are what you choose. And you can choose stillness. Right now. In this breath. In this moment. That is the first and last thing you ever truly own, your response. Not the past. Not the outcome. Just the moment between what happens and how you meet it. That space, that breath is your freedom. And inside that freedom you find peace. Not the peace of a perfect life, but the peace of an aligned one. A life where you live by your values, not your moods. Where you walk your path, even if no one claps for it. Where you speak with honesty, even when your voice shakes. This is the quiet power of the Stoic. To live with intention, to suffer without complaint, to love without possession, to hold joy with an open hand, knowing it may pass, and to hold sorrow the same way, knowing it will pass too. Everything passes. This is not a threat, it's a gift, because it means you can stop holding your breath. You can stop waiting for the next thing to make you whole. You are already whole. Even if you're healing, even if you're learning, even if you're rebuilding from nothing, you are whole because you have not abandoned yourself. Even on your worst days, especially on your worst days, the Stoics did not seek comfort. They sought character, because character cannot be taken from you. Not by failure, not by loss, not by betrayal or misfortune. Character is yours alone. It's the only true wealth, and it's built in the quiet moments. When you choose to stay kind even when you're hurting. When you choose to stay honest even when it would be easier to lie. When you choose to stay grounded when your world begins to spin. This is the strength no one sees, but you feel it, you carry it, and when everything else falls away, it's what remains. So don't fear the falling away. Let it strip what's false. Let it burn what no longer serves. You will not lose anything real. What's real will stay. What's yours will remain. And you, the you beneath the fear, beneath the noise, beneath the striving, you will remain too, calm, clear, unshaken. This is not a lesson learned once. It's a practice, a remembering, every day, every moment. You will forget sometimes. That's okay. You're not here to be perfect. You're here to return to yourself, to return to clarity, to return to what matters when everything else is stripped away. That's where you'll find peace. That's where you'll find your strength. Not out there, but in here, in this breath, in this choice, in this silence. You don't need to become someone new. You only need to return to who you've always been, before the fear, before the pressure, before the world told you what you had to be. You are not broken. You are burdened. And those are not the same thing. A burden can be put down. A broken thing must be fixed. But you are not something to fix. You are something to free. Free from the lies that say you're not enough. Free from the weight of everyone else's expectations. Free from the voice that whispers that rest means failure. Listen closely. That voice is not yours. You learned it from a tired world, from loud people, from the echo of past pain. But it is not you. Your true voice is quieter, gentler. It doesn't rush. It doesn't panic. It reminds you of things that are always true. Like this, you are allowed to go slow. You are allowed to feel unsure. You are allowed to not know what comes next. Because the Stoic path isn't about controlling the future. It's about standing calmly in the present. And in this present moment, you are safe. Even if things are uncertain, even if plans are unclear, even if your heart is tired, you are still safe. Because safety does not mean having all the answers. It means learning to trust yourself even when there are none. It means knowing that your strength is not in prediction. It's in preparation. And you prepare by tending to the only thing that matters, your mind. You don't need control, you need clarity. Clarity to see what is real. Clarity to name your feelings without being owned by them. Clarity to respond, not react. This is what Stoicism trains. Not a hard heart, but a steady one. Not a mind closed off to feeling, but one that refuses to drown in emotion. There is room for sadness here. There is room for anger, for confusion, for longing. But there is no room for despair, because despair is the belief that the story is over. And it isn't. Not while you're still breathing. Not while there's still light in your chest. Not while you still have the chance to make one more choice right now to align with who you want to be. The moment you stop fighting the pain, the moment you allow it to move through you, that is the moment you begin to heal. Let what you can't change pass through you like wind through open hands. You don't have to hold it. You don't have to analyze it. You only have to witness it and let it go. Pain is not the enemy. Your reaction to pain is what defines your strength. Because pain will come, but it is not here to punish you. It is here to shape you. Not in the way the world shapes with pressure, but in the way a river shapes a stone. Gradually, gently, I know some days it doesn't feel gentle. I know some nights feel endless. But morning still comes. And with it, a chance to begin again. Not from the beginning, but from here. From this version of you. The one who's been through enough to know that inner peace is not a destination. It's a discipline. A way of walking through life, eyes open, heart steady. You can still be gentle even in the storm. You can still be soft even while standing strong. Being stoic doesn't mean being cold. It means being clear. It means you feel things deeply, but you choose your response carefully. It means you can hear the noise of the world, but you don't let it live inside you. It means you protect your inner space, like a sacred temple. Only what aligns with your values is allowed in, and anything else stays outside. You owe no one access to your peace. You do not need to explain why you are quieter now, why you say no more often, why you move slower with more care. This is not weakness. This is evolution, a return to simplicity, a return to the essentials. This is how the Stoics lived, humbly, quietly, intentionally. They didn't chase success for the sake of appearance. They didn't chase validation from the crowd. They built character, not applause. And you can do the same. You can live so well, so clearly, so aligned, that no one else's noise matters. Because you are not their opinion. You are not their doubt. You are not their projection. You are your principles, your integrity, your stillness in the chaos. That stillness is worth more than gold. Cannot be bought. It must be earned by practicing presence. Right here, right now, with this breath, with this awareness, with this radical, unwavering decision to meet life as it comes, not as you wish it would be. This is the path. Not glamorous, not loud, but deeply real. And it is open to you always, even now, even tired, even unsure, even hurting, especially then. That is where the real practice begins.